Welcome to Pods and Pies, our fake sponsor today.
Fake sponsor is Summit Pizza Company.
We usually do.
Where do you live? Ish. Holiday. Well, this is a Thanksgiving Point Traverse Mountain pizza place.
Yeah. Got it.
It's actually pretty good.
What's your go-to pizza? Do you have a place you like?
You know what? There's a place in the it's in the basement of a small sort of retail center in Holiday. I'm going to space the name of it. It's open 3 nights a week.
Okay.
It's the world's best. I'm going to figure it out because it's
I love pizza. I want to know.
It's like pure Italian pizza. It's fantastic.
Oh boy.
So you got a fake sponsor and you have a fake guest on your podcast
Yeah, sure.
as well.
So we have the amazing Jeremy Andrus from Traeger on. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome, man. Grab a
It's
slice
way better
there.
than being in the office. Pizzeria Tasso. Tasso.
Tasso.
It's fantastic. It's like they've got a brick oven, portable brick oven pizza maker in the back.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
So you know what I just bought? There's a company called Uni that makes
Uni's awesome.
Uni. Okay, I figured that might be kind of in the same kind of not industry, but just kind of space or
Yep.
right. So anyway, not to tell. My first thing I ever cooked on my Traeger was a Papa Murphy's pizza. I got it the day I got it. I cranked that sucker up as high as I could get it, and we went and got take and bake pizzas, and I did pizza in the Traeger. It was amazing.
You know what? Pizza on a Traeger is great. We're about to figure out how to do it better.
Yeah. Because if you could somehow, because I bought an Uni, the 16-inch Uni thing, right? I don't know if you've heard of that.
What is it, just a pizza maker?
So it's an outdoor pizza oven, and
Gotcha.
it will get like 800
hot.
degrees,
Yeah.
800 or plus. Actually, they say like 900, but I think you're talking like 800, and it will
hot.
cook a pizza. Now, if you have the right dough, and I've gotten way into pizza right now. Pizza
That's
dough,
awesome.
dude, the right pizza dough and the pizza, it cooks in 90 seconds.
I do one
Neapolitan
flip.
style.
I turn it once.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. Now the downside is, I bought it a few weeks ago. It won't even ship till March because
They're killing it.
they're killing it, way behind, which is amazing, right? Good for them. But I'm actually going to borrow my neighbor's just so I can start dialing in the dough, dialing in the pizza.
There's real art to the dough too.
I know.
Really getting the dough right.
I spent 2 hours on YouTube right down the rabbit hole on only how to these Italians making the pizza dough.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, this is good pizza.
Yeah.
Good fake
Yeah,
sponsor.
Summit's pretty good.
We do. We'll get the dough, roll it out right, a little olive oil, a little garlic, put it on there just cook it just barely each side, bring it back in, top it, then take it back out.
Good call.
Cook it all together.
Yeah. Well, if the Traeger, I wouldn't need an Uni. Like if my Traeger could do like kind of that same heat, but it's hard even in the wintertime. I put a cover on my Traeger. It's so hard to get it just like cranking hot.
I'm just going to tell you, stay tuned. I'll leave it at that.
That's good to know.
What are your top 3 things to make on the Traeger?
You know what? So I rotate. Like I'll fall in love with something and I'll do it over and over and over.
Are you on it every day?
Yeah. Our house, Traeger's always on. In fact, since COVID hit, we've got a great culinary team at Traeger. We cook every day for our company. And so I do lunch meetings, and it's great to bring people in from the outside and just cook this amazing meal for them. COVID hit, we all go home, and I decided I was going to start to cook for my guests. Like I can keep doing business lunches. And so I've got it down to a science. A Snake River Farms steak filet, reverse seared. In my calendar, I reach out, hey, how do you like your steak? So on the calendar, it's like at 10 a.m., medium rare. JJ likes it medium rare, for example. And reverse sear it, do a baked potato, olive oil, kosher salt, a great arugula salad, fresh baked cookies, and I cook for people that come over for business meetings. And it's the best experience. So I'm a meat eater.
How do I set up a business meeting?
So I know people.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, it's a great meeting. We'll definitely make it happen. But lately, beef tenderloin is something I love. Go to Costco. Go to Snyder Brothers. We got great beef tenderloin. Slow cook it, and then sear it when you're finished. Sear it over hot cast iron. Prime rib.
Do you keep the cast iron heated in the Traeger?
I do.
Or do you just stick it in the oven, just crank it up?
No, I leave the cast iron in the Traeger, and then I pull the tenderloin out for about 5 minutes, crank it up to 500 degrees, and then I sear it for about 2 minutes on each side.
Yeah.
Prime rib. You know what? You only do prime rib in the holidays, apparently, but I'm starting to do it. I did one over Christmas, and actually, it was like the world's best thing. And there's no better feeling than when you've got like 20 family members in for the holidays, and they say, "This is the best thing I've ever eaten," and you glow with pride. And what do? You do it again.
Yeah.
Like you cook it again. So I've been cooking prime rib, not during the holidays, and it's I know it's like my future heart surgeon would say, like, not twice a week, Jeremy. That's that's kind of ridiculous. But I love it, and so I'm trying different recipes on the rub, the finish, and that's like that is my passion protein to cook right now. Yeah. Ask me in 3 months, it'll be something else.
Something different.
Yeah.
What's the most annoying or question you get all the time, dude? I mean, obviously, like when they know what you do.
Do you know what?
What you deal with, and they're just. Is there a question that's just on repeat all the time?
Yes.
Maybe one of these we've already. I'm just
No,
curious.
you haven't asked it yet. So I get the question a lot, and I wouldn't say it's annoying, but I think my answer surprises people. Everyone says, "So what's next?" And like early in my career, there was always a next. It's like, what am I going to do next? Like I always had a plan, 5-year, 10-year, 1 year. And people ask me that all the time, and they don't believe my answer. The answer is nothing. Like, this is it. And, like, is that going to be the case 10, 20, 30 years? I don't know, but I learned that, first of all, when it's always about what's next, you can't truly love what you're doing. It's like, why plan something that's next when you love what you do?
Yeah.
And I've just developed this belief that, you know, the grass beneath my feet is the greenest grass out there. And so if I'm looking for greener grass somewhere else, I just can't enjoy where I stand.
That's good.
And honestly, I get that question constantly, and people don't love it. It's like, new business, are you gonna run for office? I'm like, no, like I love this moment in time. And as long as I can preserve the feeling I get when I spend time at Traeger. I don't have a job, haven't had a job for a long time. Updated my resume last in 2002 when I was graduating from school. And it's the best thing to simply say, you know what? I do Traeger because I love it, and that's it, period.
Yeah, that's good.
That is good.
Yeah.
Now, what's next is
a
I'm
great
going to take a
answer.
bite of this pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Good. So let's go back before Traeger. So I think probably a lot of people know Jeremy Andrus, Skull Candy, and Traeger. Let's go back before that and kind of give us your history. Did you grow up here in Utah?
I did not grow up in Utah. And then I'll take you through the disastrous career years of Jeremy Andrus. So I grew up all over the place. Midwest till I was 10, lived in a small town in England. My family moved over there, a small town called Cropston.
Yeah.
Our house had a name, not an address, and that's not because it was a manor. It was like a very small town. And
what was the name?
It was Cropston. It was the Cropston town. This was at the corner of an intersection. It was called Cropston.
Yeah.
And literally, there was a corner store. That was it. And coolest experience. Sad to leave Minnesota. Sad to leave my dog, who couldn't come with us. But like this great adventure. I'd grown up in a small town in Minnesota. To move to England and like travel around Europe, my dad's job. Junior high in Boston, the North Shore, actually New England, closer to the New Hampshire border. Washington D.C. high school. Santa Monica, Dallas, Italy, Israel. I mean, like from there, I
hell.
was all over the place.
Till
Yeah.
when? Till what age? I mean,
Till I came to Utah 15 years ago. Like I was all over the place.
Yeah.
Like my life was all like always an adventure. Like I'm a very adventurous person, and like never willing to settle down until I found what just really made me tick. And that was frustrating for me for a while. Like always enjoying the ride, but maybe not as much as I could have if I weren't so focused on like who I wanted to become. And so I moved around a lot, and I did a lot of different things, and you know, a real sense of adventure that my family and I have now. I mean, like over Christmas, we went down to Costa Rica, and we saw Costa Rica differently than most families that have 6 kids under 12 years old. We got in a van, we cranked up the tunes, and we drove. Like we stopped in small towns and we adventured. And so, you know, people here do know me as Skull Candy and Traeger. And Skull Candy is one I converted my passion to an opportunity. But boy, I day traded stocks, made a ton of money and lost all of it, and then lost more than I started with, which took me 10 years to pay back.
And what year did you
Did
you land in Utah?
In 2005.
But that's different than when you did Skull Candy.
So I actually Skull Candy. I was living in San Francisco. I was gainfully employed. I had a job.
Yeah.
I was paying off my business school debt, $700 a month over 30 years.
Yeah.
Over 30 years. I mean, they're like, I got a job. My parents are proud of me. Like, I'm holding down a job. I'm making good money, and I'm bored out of my mind. And so I remember I was in Southern California with my then girlfriend, now wife, driving down Laguna Canyon, no cell reception. I get to the end of it, and I've got a voicemail from a buddy of mine from back home who had just recently moved to Park City, and he said, hey, there's this company, there's a startup called Skull Candy. It's like 3 guys. It's going to be a big business, like massive opportunity. And I remember driving home back to Kristen's apartment and looking at skullcandy.com, and it was raw. I mean, it was like, there was 2 products. It was integrated audio into helmets at the time.
Yeah.
And there was this heavy metal loop that repeated like every 10 seconds. It was so bad. And I'm looking at this saying, this is kind of like there's something interesting about this. At the time, I'm living in San Francisco. I'm taking the bus to the financial district every day, and I'm seeing like this white cable, and then it was multiplying every few days, 2 white cables, 4, 8, and it was the iPod. This was like back in 2004, and I connected like this interesting brand around snowboarding and wearable electronics with this portable music thing that I'm starting to really see take shape in San Francisco. And I quit my job, and I drove to Park City, and I moved into my parents' basement. And
Your parents were here?
My parents were here, which is the only reason.
Interesting.
It's the only way it worked out.
Yeah.
I had a basement to move into, and otherwise, I really didn't have much money at the time. And I moved in the basement, and I joined this guy Rick Alden, he was a great entrepreneur, and I learned a ton from. And that was like the start of. That's not when my career started, but I think that's when most people think it started. I was kind of a train wreck for years. I mean, always working hard, always looking, but always trying to find my passion, and not willing to stop if it wasn't the right thing. Like I learned at every moment along the way, but Skull Candy, I had this moment where I just said, I love brand. Like I truly love brand. I love to think about a consumer and like what really brings a consumer joy. Like remember the first time I saw someone buy a pair of Skull Candy Skull Crushers in Salty Peak in Salt Lake off of Salty Peaks. And I heard this guy take it up to the counter and say, hey, what do you know about this Skull Crusher thing? And like my heart starts pounding.
So you're just observing this.
I'm observing, and I'm thinking, should I jump in? Should I sell it? Like, don't, just listen. And the guy behind the counter says, it's awesome. It's got like subwoofers built in, battery powered subwoofers. Start selling this thing. And the guy bought it. And it's the first time I watched someone buy my product. Like I was on fire. It was like the greatest thing ever. And I've learned to really appreciate this this moment of delighting a customer with a really great product. And it's like, as a consumer guy, it's the best thing ever. So at Skull Candy, I found this intersection between great product, disruption, like thinking differently about the world, disruptive brand, disruptive product, Asia sourcing. Like I love to go to China, and now we source in Vietnam as well. Fascinated by that whole thing, and seeing it from like a concept developed in the U.S., over to Asia, and then sitting at a point of sale in retail, and like stepping back. And I'll never tire of watching someone explore a brand that I'm a part of and seeing them convert. I was in Dallas a few weeks ago. It was right before Christmas, and doing retail visits with some members of my sales team down there. And we pulled up to a shop, and there's this woman saying, "Car's over here," and they've got a flatbed pushing this Timberline 850 that she's bought for her husband for Christmas.
What a great wife.
Great wife.
What a great wife.
I said the same thing. I was like, by the way, just so you know, this is a great grill. He's going to love you. And I didn't want to tell her who I was, because it's like, hey, what do you know? Why did you buy this? What do you know about this? And she says, my husband's been wanting one of these things. In fact, I don't know if I can wait till Christmas. I may just give it to him today. And then I eventually told her who I was. And she said, oh my gosh, I got to get a selfie. This is so cool. It's like, no, can you send that to me? Because, this was weeks ago. Like the experience of watching someone do their research, walk into retail and buy it and leave with it and say, that's going to sit on their back porch, and they're going to have these great food experiences around a product that I helped build. It's really like, to me, it's like the greatest joy. So, and I'll put a bow on the question. I'm sort of all over the place by saying, for 10 years, I really didn't know what my career was going to be. And there were some really frustrating moments. And I say that because you'll find, like, if you're in one of those moments, you're going to find something if you keep your feet moving. And I look back and say, boy, there were moments where I thought, this is a disaster. And then there was like this period at Skull Candy where I said I found my passion, and I will forever be this, whether it's headphones or grills, something that just really gives me inspiration around bringing great products to market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you at Skull Candy before they went public?
6 years.
And then how long after?
2 years.
Okay.
That was, and boy, that was painful.
What happened to Skull Candy?
Because
I remember these years. Like I remember the Skull Crushers. Like Skull Candy was.
Do you really?
Amazing.
I had some. They were like,
you know what I mean?
purple.
It was just like, who did you have? Like James Harden. You had NBA players rocking them, and it was like,
Kevin Durant. I
Skull
remember
Candy
spending an evening with James Harden, Kevin Durant, Derrick Rose. I mean, like having dinner in Vegas, going to a concert, and they're just all freaking out about Skull Candy. And I'm like, I'm hanging out with some of my favorite NBA players ever.
Yeah.
First of all, the early days of Skull Candy were hard. It's like we didn't have two nickels from. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm asking you, why? But I know that's why was it hard? I mean, we're talking. Is it the people? Was it like logistics of like the product? I mean, why? I mean, I'm just curious. Like when you say hard,
I love
because my mind goes, well, what the hell?
Do you know what? I loved the people. We didn't have two nickels to rub together. I'll give you an example. Day 4 at Skull Candy. My day 4, Thursday morning. Rick Alden walks into my office, takes his hat off, and he starts like giving himself a scalp massage. Puts his head down and he says, "Dude, we got a problem." I'm like, "Okay, day 4. How can I help solve it?" And he says, "We're out of money." I'm like, "Oh, well, that would have been nice to know 5 5 days ago before I quit my
You
job
just
and
came-
drove here. And of course, not wanting to fail day 4, he said, okay, let's talk about it. I said, well, we can't make payroll tomorrow, and our factory's holding shipment, so we can't get more inventory. And I've saved some money. I still haven't paid off my $200,000 margin debt for day trading stocks 5 years before that, but I've saved some money from my last job, and he needed 15 grand. And I wrote a check for 15 grand. And I wasn't getting paid anyway. It was all equity.
Yeah.
I was living in my parents' basement, and I'm like doing the math of my dad charges me $100 a month rent. And by the way, I've still never paid him.
Thanks,
and
Dad.
he gives me crap. He wanted me to be responsible, so it wasn't a free basement. It's turned out to be fairly free so far, unless he's tacking interest on. And
Said, Dad, I got you a Traeger.
yeah. Well, and by the way, he invested in Skull Candy and Traeger, so he's done plenty fine. And it was hard because we didn't have two nickels to rub together. We couldn't finance inventory. We couldn't finance growth. I remember being at a trade show in Vegas, and at the end of a trade show, trading headphones for gas and for a hotel room. For a hotel room, like we bartered, and it worked.
So I mean, because banks, you couldn't get money from
we
banks.
weren't bankable.
No bankable.
We were tiny, like we were.
You couldn't
unstable.
sell. You couldn't sell anybody, any other
couldn't
investors.
get people to invest. No, so it was hard to get people to invest, and like we eventually, like 25 grand at a time, we raised money from like my dad, my brother, a guy in the neighborhood, and we built Skull Candy a total of $800,000 of equity. And then eventually we can get very high interest rate revolving loans, like factoring loans.
Yeah.
And so that was hard. I didn't really know how to build a team. Like that was hard to, like, how do you find good people? Like team is everything. What happens when you have like cultural conflict in your business? And like you really care about culture. And so what I found was that, because what I had done before, which was build real estate, day trade stocks, as a management consultant, I ran a lawn business. Like nothing really classically prepared me for Skull Candy. And so it was hard. And then it was hard because it wasn't growing. And then it started growing, and it was hard because it was growing.
Yeah.
And then you've got to figure out how to get this product over. Do I air freight it? I'm like, my retailers are upset with me. And then we go public. I mean, 6 years in, I'm making this up as I go along. I truly, I'm doing my best. And I believed in faking it until you make it. And actually, I don't believe in that anymore. I think you just acknowledge where you don't know something. But at the time, I faked it. And then we go public. And literally, we have this insane valuation at our IPO. It's worth $550 million, and it never trades above the IPO price again.
Oh.
And by the way, worse than that, we became the highest shorted stock on the NASDAQ. For 6 months, we were number one.
Well, now was the price too high
They
on the
were-
initial offering, or what was the?
The price was too high, and honestly, I didn't understand this at the time. And Skull Candy truly became my blueprint for Traeger, like for good and for bad. But we were an accessory that plugged into a device, so we didn't control the device or the royalties that would come that we had to pay to plug into it. We didn't control the technology of the device. We were a very strong brand for a 14 to 24-year-old male. And so you go accessory, 14 to 24-year-old male, and then Beats comes into the market, and suddenly people said, I'll bet against you all day long. And they did. Like, we were the number one shorted stock on the NASDAQ. And I remember not only like the fire that I felt under my feet for that, but I remember reading these short seller memos. They would circulate, end up back on my desk from Wall Street, like really, really well written. Like, they know a lot about our business, and they're like 96% accurate and 4% misleading. And the 4% misleading, I almost believed. Like, it was so well written. I'm running the company. And so that was hard. I mean, like, I felt a lot of weight. I wasn't really, like, it was all moving so fast. And there's this expression that you hear about athletes when they go into professional sports, NFL especially, where they say the game slows down. And the game was moving so fast that I couldn't process it. And then I took a year off between Skull Candy and Traeger, and I got into Traeger, and I had a blueprint. I had this pattern recognition, and then the game slowed down because I had an experience to sort of judge against and to make better decisions against. And so, like, every day I say the best thing that happened in my career was meeting Rick Alden at Skull Candy. Second best thing is that I left because that allowed me to find Traeger. And Skull Candy was a unique adrenaline ride. I mean, we were in 80 countries around the world, traveled millions of miles, Asia, Europe, Middle East, Latin America. And it was like this crazy adrenaline ride. I didn't realize until after I'd left what I was doing was just like not sustainable.
Yeah.
And so then Traeger happened, and you know, hopefully I'm better now than I was then. Hopefully I'm better now than I was a year ago. But Skull Candy was stressful.
Sounds like it,
Yeah.
man.
It's a cool experience, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it again.
Do you know how they're doing now?
You know, they're doing well, actually, and
Okay.
that makes me happy. Yeah, you know what? Jason Hodel is a CEO. He's a terrific human being. He's a great CEO. They went through a tough period, went private. I think they've done a nice job on product over the last couple of years, and they're growing nicely now. By the way, COVID's been also a great friend of theirs.
Yeah.
You know, work from home, study from home, school from home. You had a pair of headphones, and so they were doing well heading into there, and that's been a nice tailwind. But like I really like I do have like my heart, part of my heart still in Skull Candy, and I really do want it to succeed.
Do you ever just swing over there and just hop on their ramp and
So the answer is
get
yes.
your ramp on?
Yes,
Your skateboard on?
a few months ago, we had like this awesome group, mountain bike group together from Traeger, and we finished in the Skull Candy parking lot, and we had grills set up, and Jason and some guys from Skull Candy came out, and it was sort of funny. He's a wonderful person. I have hired more than one person from Skull Candy, more than one, like probably 40 over the last 7 years, and never really going after them, but just people I knew that reached out and said, hey, I want to come join you. And the last one I hired, I got this great text message from Jason Hodel, who could have been upset with me, and he said something like, hey, why don't we just combine holiday parties this year? We'll bring the music, you'll bring the food. It's kind of the same team anyway, right? And yeah, I really do want them to succeed, and I love watching from the outside. They're doing some great things as a brand.
Where's your favorite mountain biking up Park City area?
You know what? So
Do you go a lot? Do you bike?
I do. I love to bike. I tend to, because I live in the valley, I don't go as much up to Park City. That day we'd done the Crest Trail, and I love the Crest Trail, you know, and I actually love.
So from your house then, I guess, from your house, where do you usually head to?
Well, so when I did the Leadville race, Leadville 100
Really?
one year.
What's that?
It's 100
That's
miles. It's 5 mountains.
You heard that?
Yeah.
It's 5 mountain peaks,
Yeah, that's
and
a
you get up to
big-time
13,000 feet. You start at 10,800 feet of elevation.
That's where you start.
That's where you
Yeah.
start, and you get up to 13,000 feet of elevation. The year I did that, I was doing the Crest Trail from my house in Sugar House. I would ride all the way up Big Cottonwood Canyon, all the way up, you know, Empire, Puke Hill,
Yeah.
and then I would drop in Mill Creek Canyon.
How many is that? That's like 40 miles.
It's
What is that?
40 miles. Yeah, it's not quite 40 miles.
Yeah. I was
But
going to say,
it's-
depending on where in Sugar House you're at.
But it's a lot of elevation.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
And,
ton.
and that's how I got into shape. But I really love, you know, there are a number of trails. You know, Glen Wild, going over the top of
Yeah.
Glen Wild's a great one. I love Corner Canyon. To
Yeah.
me, that's like fun. Low
Corner Canyon is
elevation,
fun,
like it's just got some amazing riding. When I lived in Sugar House, I did Rush. Not Rush. That's Corner Canyon. Up Dry Creek, down Bobsled, crossed Bonneville Shoreline. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mountain bike before I came to Utah, and like I've just discovered the outdoors. Like
Yeah.
2-3 mornings a week. You know, it doesn't matter winter, summer. I'm throwing a headlamp on, and I'm running up a mountain with micro spikes, and like a
That's
week
awesome.
ago it was 16 degrees when I left. And so Utah's home. I've been
Yeah.
here more than 15 years, and 16 years actually this March. I'd never leave. It's like the best place ever.
Yeah. You done Deer Valley?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I am more of a climber. I like to ride and climb.
Yeah. We're the same.
You know, when I go with like serious, like guys just like bombing downhill with like the protective helmet and whatnot.
Yeah, that's
I'm probably the slowest. Like I really value both collarbones
right.
a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and your life.
Your life, yeah. And I feel because I've only been mountain biking for 6 years now. I'm way more comfortable on a pair of skis or a snowboard.
Oh, really?
It's because I've been doing it my whole life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're big bikers.
that's cool.
It's funny. I've been mountain biking basically my whole life since high school. But this last year, it was weird. COVID set everybody off.
Yeah.
You could not
You
find a
couldn't
bike.
find
No,
a
you
bike
couldn't
anywhere.
find a bike. I mean, it would, parking lots were dominated. But it was interesting. We let's upgrade. I mean, everybody's upgrading bikes, but it was gangbusters this last year, which is
So
a
fun.
little different than other years because we've been going for a long time, like I say. But
Yeah. I mean, there's probably 10 of us. We
Oh,
all went
yeah,
out and got new
it's
bikes.
and we're the
And we just
same way.
went,
We're just
yeah.
like, no, we climb to go down. Like we
Yeah.
we don't do a lot of shuttles. We don't do a lot of the
Yeah.
Deer Valleys, even though
Climbing's
those are
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff.
I was biking this fall. The good buddy of mine, Aaron DeRose. He lives in Draper.
Aaron DeRose, hold on.
You know Aaron?
I golfed with him at Riverside at this Corient event.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Great guy.
great guy.
Terrific guy. He was worked for Mercado for a bunch of
Yes,
years.
Mercado, and then where did he go after that?
He ran Total Health and Fitness, which he
Yes.
acquired,
Okay.
and he's now my business partner on investments. So
Yeah.
he's full time
Yeah.
finding
Big
investments.
dude, tall
for us.
dude.
Yeah.
Went to Alta. Did he
Yep.
go to Alta High School?
You know what?
Did he?
I think he grew up in Draper.
He did.
I
Well,
don't,
Yeah, that's
Anyway, if I had my phone, I'd pull up. Anyway, sorry.
Aaron and I are
Just-
riding up
yeah.
a mountain.
Yeah.
And I'm huffing and puffing, and I'm in good shape. And he's like asking me questions, like,
Oh,
no
I know
heart
exactly
rate
what
was-
you're going to say.
He was on an electric bike.
Bingo.
And I look over like, dude, like I thought I was in great shape. And he's like, yeah, I've got this set on like
Yeah.
like level 4. And I'm like, you sucker.
yeah.
I ran into him at the on the Alpine side parking lot at the
Okay.
bottom of Vertigo and Levitate and stuff. But it was so funny. I golfed with him, and then I ran into him in the parking lot. And I already knew he had an e-bike, And
Yeah.
anyway, so it was just so. It was
He's
just
all
I knew
about
you were
the
gonna say
downhill.
that. Yeah.
You know,
It's like I want to get up so I can go down. Like he's like, you do one loop, I'm doing 3.
He can't keep up with me when he's not on his e-bike on the way up, and I can't keep up on the way down. Like he's an aggressive rider on the way down.
Yeah.
For sure.
No,
That's awesome.
That's cool, dude.
So in between Skull Candy and Traeger, what are you doing in that year? Or is that like I'm looking for my
finding myself.
next? Okay.
You know what? Yes, I was looking for what was next. That is true. But it was a unique moment in my life where Skull Candy was an 8-year blur. I mean, literally, I was 7 days a week. I was 200 nights a year on the road. It went so fast. A couple things happened during that period. Number one, I got married, and I moved out of my parents' basement, which maybe that's why they didn't collect the rent. It's like, okay, he left. It's like, chalk it up,
That's
chalk
good.
it up.
That's
for
good
what?
enough.
And I got married, started having kids. And I remember towards the end of Skull Candy, my wife saying, hey, we were driving on the 224 in Park City. We passed the McDonald's on the left. Ute Boulevard, where our office was the McDonald's on the right. Ute Boulevard's on the left. And my 4-year-old daughter said, look, Mom, it's where Daddy lives. And I'm like, no. And that's a kid slip, but she kind of believed it because I spent a lot of time there. And I finished this Skull Candy experience. I said, number one, I got married and started having kids. And I didn't spend enough time with my family. And it was just so seamless from startup, married, kids, that the path of least resistance for me was get on an airplane, do Skull Candy. It was never a conscious effort, but I realized that I had a moment to get to know my actually 3 daughters when I left Skull Candy. Now 4 daughters, 2 sons. I mean, like it's
Bingo.
insane.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to spend time with them, and I remember like a lot of moments, like with my, one of my daughters coming home, just going to Top Stop near our house, grabbing a Diet Coke and a kid's Diet Coke, and sitting on the street corner and talking. And that was like it was important for me to sort of like plant my roots in what was important to me. We traveled a lot. We went to Powell, Mexico, South Africa, Latin America. We traveled. My family and I, we loved to travel. My wife and I left the children, traveled together. So it's like it was a really good grounding moment. It's an opportunity for me to not only look at a lot of businesses, but step back and ask myself, what do I value in life professionally? And at the time, we got really lucky at Skull Candy and really fortunate, and we're not big consumers, so paid off the mortgage, paid off the Subaru, paid off my business school, and paid off my margin debt. Nice. And we said, we're okay. So what does that mean for what's next? And we thought about a lot of different things, and eventually decided that my passion is building business. And I remember reading, like there was a very high impact moment when I was reading Clayton Christensen's book, How Will I Measure My Life? And he uses this phrase, something like management is a noble profession. And it's noble not because of you're simply paying someone's paycheck every other Friday, but because the environment that you create, the influence that you have, your ability to stretch people and give them opportunity and give them confidence as they overcome adversity, it makes them better people, better fathers, husbands, wives, children, community members. And when they go home, what they take with them is not the fact that maybe they made a Traeger grill during the day, but they bring a level of confidence and love and certainty with them. And that's when I said, and it wasn't a cop-out, because I'm not driven by money. Haven't been for a long time. And so I worried that I just wanted to like keep making money and like building stuff. And I said, this is like the perfect intersection. I can build a business, which I absolutely love. I love being part of a team, love building a business. And at the same time, I can have positive impact on people. And that was like a real light bulb moment for me that just totally changed the way that I thought about my career. And so I explored a lot. I explored myself a lot. That's when I rode the Leadville 100. Okay. That's when I started doing yoga and meditating and like really, 5 in the morning, every morning. I had nothing to wake up for other than to do yoga before the sun came up. And so it was like, but probably the most important year of my life. And there have been great years, but it was reflective. I wrote a lot about my Skull Candy experience. I left Skull Candy feeling like it was, we got lucky, but it wasn't a great success for me because I knew where all the bodies were buried in that business and all the things that I would have done differently. And so I look at that year as like, in my late 30s, but resetting like everything that I believed about myself and my life and what was important. And it was cool. It was a neat moment, but I'd love to do it again sometime. It's hard when you're in the middle of a business and it's moving so fast. It's hard to really step back and be reflective. And it's something I try and do more now. But there's something to be said about being able to truly take some time. Like I spent a lot of time in the mountains by myself with my music, riding my mountain bike, trying to get into shape. And it was an important inflection point in my life. I was a little unhappy when Skull Candy ended. Like I was beat up. I was out of shape. I didn't feel healthy physically. I didn't feel healthy mentally, emotionally. I was just beat up. And I kind of like decided I would never find myself in that spot again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What is your favorite place to travel? Just I guess revisit.
You know
right?
what? I have so we like to adventure. So I would say if there's any place we go back to a lot and love, it's Maui.
Oh, really? Okay.
We
Yeah.
love it. One of my favorite rides in the
And you're
world.
talking kind of is this family, like a
Family.
family?
Yeah. Favorite place, like one of my favorite things in the world to do is ride a road bike up Haleakala, because you're riding from sea level to 10,000 feet, and you're going through climates on the way up. You're going from hot and humid to cold. So we love to get over to Maui, but otherwise we just go new places.
Yeah.
You know, I've become an adventurer. So every year, my family and I love to travel. My wife and I, you know, a couple of times a year we'll go someplace new. You know, I just booked her birthday weekend in Mexico City. Not that far, not that expensive,
Yeah.
but we're foodies. And so we're going to do a food tour for 3 days. And we're just going to trek around.
Is that a tour that is guided, or is that is self-guided?
So ask me in a month.
Okay.
I'm building the plan for it right
So
now.
you're kind of building a plan.
Yeah, so it'll be mostly self-guided, but I'm trying to find a cooking class for us to take together because we both love to cook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do an adventure, high adventure trip every year with some really good buddies. They're sort of they're CEO entrepreneurs between here and Silicon Valley. Davis Smith, CEO founder of Cotopaxi, he was kind of the ringleader. Chris Bowler, Creminelli, Fine Meats founder. Like we get together and we go someplace, and they're kind of intense trips.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember the first year we went spearfishing. We fly into this tiny island called Exuma, something like that, in the Caribbean, and we rent these 2 small sailboats, dinghy boats, and we've got water, camping gear, spears, and something to guide. It's not a map when you sail, it's like a cart. It's like, anyway, we set off, and we get really hungry, and you know, and we get almost attacked by sharks. I get drug up against coral, like just the left side of my body scraped and bleeding. And we finish these things, and it's like we're tight, like we're friends, and we've done something hard.
Yeah.
Last February, right before COVID hit the U.S., we went to the Amazon, and this was not a tourist trip. You know, we found a guy named Rambo who spoke no English, and we trekked around the Amazon, and it was hard. Like, I mean, it was emotionally exhausting. I remember the first night, I'm in a dirty, smelly hammock. I'm hearing animals, like you hear jaguars attacking prey 100 yards away. You've got fires going so they don't attack you. No guarantees. And I'm laying there like with DEET rubbed all over me. It's like 88 degrees and humid. The DEET is eating my skin, and I start feeling anxiety. And I'm just like, I'm a calm. I don't ever feel anxiety. And so I take an Ambien.
Yeah.
Does nothing. I take ZQL with my Ambien, still nothing. And then I make a mistake. I pull out my iPhone, put my AirPods in, I start watching Narcos. And I'm like, that was a bad idea. And so then I went to more yoga-esque type music. But adventure, like my family and my friends and I, when we adventure, we don't very often go to the same place.
Yeah.
Except Maui. We like
Love
Maui,
Maui.
you feel good, but otherwise we just, you know, we find new places.
Yeah. And there is there's definitely a point you're saying to where you go. Food is a priority.
Food's important.
Food's important, huh?
You know what? When we land, and actually, I had this amazing surprise trip to Marrakesh planned with my wife
Where's
for Morocco.
Okay.
And it's like straight out of Aladdin. I mean, it's like just authentic, you know, markets and sort of Middle Eastern culture. And it was for mid-April, which of course our plans changed. But I had this great food tour and like these Moroccan cooking classes set up. When we land, it doesn't matter what city. When my wife and I land in New York, for example, by the time we land, we have 3 restaurants lined up for that evening. And we will eat multiple entrees in multiple restaurants. We won't finish any of them. And
So all the things you're doing to stay fit is so that you can go and
you
eat.
have to,
Yeah.
100%. No, you're so right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Fit, you're staying fit to eat.
we just really value food as an experience, and it's part of my love for Traeger, which is that wasn't me growing up. I grew up in a home where, we fried Spam, and I was told that was steak because we didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so food is like, it was fuel, it was function, it was calories, and that was it. Then I married a foodie, and we became foodies together. And then we got in Traeger, and then we acquired Traeger, and that's like it's as much Kristen's as it is mine in terms of our passion, our involvement. And what I love the most about Traeger is the mission around bringing people together over great food experiences.
I know.
And you just bond. Like,
There's
you bond.
something different. There is
Yeah.
something different about people you may know, you may not know.
Yeah.
When you have, and it's not even necessarily, sometimes it is the food, but sometimes it's actually the environment.
It's the experience.
It's the whole experience.
The food is the enablement.
I get goosebumps when
You're
I think
right.
about places that I would give anything to go back to and eat.
When you leave that moment, like, there's something very communal and important in human relationships around sitting around food, sitting around a table with great food. And it's something that's what I love about Traeger. I aspire to sort of empower people to cook for their friends and their family. It's like democratize cooking so that they can end up around a table, and when they leave, they just say, that felt good. Like,
Yeah.
these are my friends.
Yeah.
It's food.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say another curious question. Sorry, Danny. I'm talking now. Going food, more food.
More food. I love food.
You know, you got 6 kids. I mean, I have 4 kids. Right?
How did that happen? I
Dude,
asked myself.
Yeah, 6
Not biologically, but what was I thinking at what point along the way?
You know, when you go to like, let's say Costa Rica, for example, or a place, or Maui, the toughest thing with family travel and those places, when my priority is like, okay, let's just find local food,
Yeah.
local, it's so hard when my kids want chicken nuggets, or chicken strips, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I was just curious what your experience has been with that many kids, like kind of traveling.
It's an interesting question.
Are they adopting your the same feeling mentality of like just foodies? We want the fresh fish. We're going to a fishing village. We're going to have sushi out of it.
So that's an interesting. We've talked a lot about this. It's important for us when we travel that we are living. We're living the culture. Like, we're
Yes.
respectful of the environment, and that we are enjoying the people that we're with. And so we talk about food because we've got some picky eaters in our family.
Yeah,
And
it's inevitable. I mean, you're gonna have some picky eaters.
we have one in particular, and she's our second daughter, and we go on a trip with any of our children 8 years or older. Every year we'll go someplace international, and it's not going to be Paris or Rome, or it's going to be an adventure that makes us all feel slightly uncomfortable, out of our element. The first time we did that, we went to Japan.
Japan's amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, we trekked around on trains in Japan, and we sat down with our second oldest, and we said, hey, listen, you're going to see food in Japan that you just don't even know what it is, and you got to eat it. You got to experience it, and like, don't judge it before you've tried it. That's culturally offensive. And so we were so proud of her.
Yeah.
I mean, she ate sushi, raw fish. She ate all sorts. Now, of course, she loves white pasta with butter on it. So ramen noodles were like good ramen. It was like incredible.
Yeah.
But we talk about that. So when we're on like vacation in a resort, it's like, Dad, chicken fingers, ketchup, fries, and that's like on every kid's menu. They're chicken tenders.
Yep.
But that's okay when we're traveling for an experience, like, we say, hey, look,
You
have to be part of this,
Yeah.
and they do. They play ball even if they don't love it.
That's
And
good.
I having traveled a lot to Asia, a lot to China, and our manufacturing is not in city centers. I mean, like, we drive to get there from cities that you've never heard of. When they see what I eat, it's like they can't believe it when I'm
Are
eating
they- yeah.
ants and chicken, like real chicken fingers, not like
Chicken
processed chicken breast. It's like the things that I eat, and I do it to be respectful and to have the experience. And I've had some bad experiences. I had very bad food poisoning my last trip to China a year ago, December. So last year's the only year I haven't gone to China in 15 years, and I thought I was going to die. And I was like 4 hours from Shanghai, 4 hours from a good hospital, and like my team's looking at me, saying, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm not." And someone leaves and is calling an ER doc in the U.S. And I just believe you eat when you're in a small village in Mexico, you eat the street tacos. Like you have the experience.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, doesn't do you right.
Yeah.
But I think it's part of like seeing the world through a different set of lenses.
Did you try? I can't remember the name of the dish, but it's like these in Japan. It's like these fermented beans that taste like stinky feet.
Yes.
Did you have those?
Yes.
Was that the worst thing you've
They're
ever put in your
so
mouth?
Bad.
Oh my gosh, that's like a delicacy. Like people
It's-
love it.
They
love it.
That's what's amazing to me.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
Around Asia, the delicacies are the things that you simply say,
There's no way in
why?
hell.
Yeah.
Like not only why, but like why this body part? Like, and it's what they do. And I will try anything once. I remember the first time I ate snake. We picked the live snake out. They decapitated it, and we ate it for dinner. That was a lot. Tasted like chicken. Susan got beyond all of the bones in it, but stinky feet beans.
Oh,
yes,
dude,
I've
they
had
were
the
the
bite.
worst.
And
Oh
by the
my
way,
gosh.
I didn't eat the second bite. Like I'll always have the first bite.
I don't even think I
Didn't
finished
say.
it. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't do it. How did you find Traeger? Because aren't they Oregon? They were in Oregon.
They were Oregon.
Oregon-based, right?
Yeah,
I mean, been around for a long time.
they've been around now. They were Joe Traeger founded Traeger in 1987.
Okay.
Joe Traeger.
Yeah. Joe Traeger's in his early 80s. I spent time with him, understanding the heritage of the business. But when I found Traeger when I was looking for a business to buy, and it was interesting. I remember actually a fund that I was affiliated with had found, and they'd reach out and say, "Hey, we'd been talking. I was talking to a dozen funds about doing a deal together, private equity funds, and they said we've got this business. It's called Traeger." And I remember saying, "What's that?" They said, "It's a wood pellet grill." I said, "Great. What's that?" And we talked for an hour, and I said, "That's not for me." And
yeah.
we sort of put it down. They called me a couple months later and said, "We really like this business." And they explained to me why, and I said, "Huh, that's interesting." And so I flew up to Oregon. I had set up about a dozen meetings with consumers, Traeger consumers, and we sat in a conference room one at a time, and I'm taking notes. And I remember the very first gentleman I sat with, I said, "So tell me about your Traeger, your experience with Traeger." And I'm taking notes, and he said, "My Traeger changed my life." And I'm like, I put my pen down. I say that again? Like, what did you just say? It's like, as a
That's a big
consumer
statement.
guy,
That's a
it's
big
a big
statement.
statement. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care what the brand is. And what I realized, the more that I got to know this brand, the more I realized, and there really was no brand. I mean, there was no marketing department. I found it 27 years in, not a dollar had been spent on marketing, but there was like this community in Oregon they identified with themselves as Traeger owners. And I said, okay, what could we do if we actually innovate and build great product equal to this like great solution? Joe Traeger deserves all of the credit for this thing. He built a solution that's a really great solution. We just needed to make the product better. And then we needed to build a brand. Then we need to tell the world what a wood pellet grill is. And it was interesting to me to hear this level of passion for something like, as a student of great brand, and with social media, there are no great secrets out there. Like, great secrets are not secrets very long. And for whatever reason, this one just never really made it outside of the Pacific Northwest. And so the opportunity that I had was to be one of my partner in New York, and I acquired the business. We first made a minority investment, It was a disaster, like a freaking train wreck. And we said, we like the business, but we have to own the whole thing if we're going to do what we think we need to do.
Yeah.
And so we acquired the rest of it, and I moved it back to Utah. So I think it's a great place to build business.
How was that? What was that transition like with employees in Oregon?
Hard.
And
It
coming
was
back
hard.
to Utah. How many came with?
First of all, I don't recommend it. I mean, like, I worried. And by the way, there was a very specific moment where I decided I was done with Oregon. People of Oregon are wonderful. I love Oregon. It's a birthplace of our brand. But there was a moment where I drove to the office, and there was a fire truck and a police car, and one of our 18-wheel rigs was on fire. And some members of the warehouse team who we were letting go because we were outsourcing our warehouse operation doused it with fuel and burned it to the ground. And I was already struggling with the culture in this place. Like, every time I went to Oregon, I felt sick to my stomach. Like, it's like, it was the first time since junior high school that I would eat alone in the cafeteria. It was like sad and lonely.
Yeah.
And then there was a burning truck outside, and I said, we're done. And so over the course of the next year, I transitioned to Utah. I hired redundant team. I was very honest with the team and say, look, this doesn't work. Like, we're fearing for our lives. You don't like me. You don't trust me. And I don't know how to change this place. And so respectfully, you play ball, stick around. I'll pay you very well. And we're leaving. And so we had a small office in Springville, small sales office. And I would say, maybe a dozen people from Springville office joined us in Salt Lake, and 3 people from Oregon from the headquarter office joined us. And so that was actually a very dark period of my career. It was very, people didn't trust me, didn't like me. I felt unsafe, like physically unsafe in that place.
Well, I mean, you got burning trucks.
burning
out
truck.
front, like,
Yeah,
I would feel the same.
Who knows what's next?
Yeah.
I remember having the meeting that day, and I had my 4 executives who I'd hired from Skull Candy, and I said, hey, guys, we don't know what's going to happen. So I want people at 4 corners of the room. Someone pulls out a gun. At least they're only getting one of us. And I said, we're done. So I brought it to Utah and really rebuilt the business with the foundation being culture. Like, finding people that believed in, like, really building something special, that wanted to be part of a team, and they wanted to collaborate, and they wanted their career to be more than a job and more than money.
Sounds like a do-over, coming to Utah, kind of
was.
starting from the ground up. Let's build what we want to build, how we want to build it.
It was a startup. I mean, I was almost the second founder of this business. We started over, and it's become the best experience of my career. And just this morning I was speaking to my product team. They were doing an offsite to sort of plan their innovation for the next 2 to 3 years. And like, I'm feeling the energy of these 40 people. And my greatest source of pride and joy of Traeger is the team. I just truly love the team. I love to be with the team. And that's the leading indicator of that a business is going to do well. It's like, you have a team and a culture that really stands for something. It's like, there's mission and there's purpose and there's a sense of belonging. And I feel that there. And it's like, I don't go to Traeger for my W-2 every other week. I go there because I want to. Like, Sunday night rolls around. Like, there was a day when I had a job and I would feel anxiety on Sunday night. Yeah. And I think, oh, good weekend. I don't feel like going back. For me, Sunday night rolls around. It's like, I am pumped to get back in the
Monday
office.
morning.
And that's a good feeling. And by the way, it's important that as the leader of that business, that I'm not the only guy thinking that. If I'm the only one having fun,
yeah.
I'm a bad CEO. And so I really truly hope that everyone on Sunday evening is saying, I can't wait to get back. I can't wait to get to our 8:30 all hands meeting with, Paulina on the DJ, Jeremy MC, and people standing up and talking. And we do it virtually now, but I just want people to value their moments at Traeger, because we all spend too much time working, and I want people to have a positive experience there. I really do.
How did you create that culture? right? Because I mean, your office is amazing.
It's a good question.
You have, I mean, if you don't know what a Traeger is, right, you've been living under a rock. I feel like, but like your
But only
Instagram,
2% of the country has Traeger, so we have so much room to grow.
yeah, there's so much. But I feel like, I
that's
mean,
a crazy
especially
number.
Utah,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, we're here. Yeah, we're local, so with Traeger's,
Utah's
Traeger's the
it's,
deal.
it's
Traeger's
actually
the thing.
15% in Utah, yeah.
Your
It's high.
Instagram, I mean, you have these big barbecue cooks. You have people who love the product. I
You
mean,
could
how
probably-
did you create this culture that everybody just? Because I mean, I think if you hear Traeger, I don't think anybody's had a negative. It's like you hear Traeger, you're like, oh, I love Traeger.
Do you know what?
I love their grills. You know what I mean? It's like
I appreciate you saying that. Two very simple things. Number one, we defined what we want our culture to stand for, and we defined some very specific cultural values. And the purpose of those were twofold. Number one, connect my vision for the business with our cultural values, so that people know how to think, how to behave, how we sort of mutually think about building an organization together. And the second, values that inspire people to be better, to be their best selves. And so we established those, and then we hired a team. And I interview every single person that we hire.
every single one that comes through.
It's unwieldy. Like, I've got to figure out a better way to do this. But yesterday,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, I interviewed a sales rep in Iowa, and I interviewed one in Nebraska who's moving to West Texas, to Plano. And I don't look at their resume. I don't ask about their job. I assume that by the moment they've made it to my office or to my Zoom call in this day and age, that they've been screened for capability. But the biggest mistake that I believe companies make is we only screen for capability, and we don't screen for culture. And so I meet them to figure out if they believe in our cultural values. And of course, they'll articulate them differently than, they're not going to say, yes, cook together, I'm all in. No, test kitchen mentality, which is one of our values. No one knows what that means when they come in, but I ask them questions that get at the heart of whether or not it's part of them. If they were not a risk taker before, smart risk taking at Traeger, like we value and we embrace that. That's where innovation disruption comes from. But if someone's not a risk taker, they're not going to be culturally additive to what we're doing. And so, honestly, I think the X factor in Traeger, the magic, is the culture, and it works because although, like, I believe in hiring a diverse team with diverse backgrounds, experiences, points of view, culture is the one area where you want alignment. And that's been, I was being interviewed recently by this person who writes for Wall Street Journal and Inc., and they had a single thing they were trying to understand. Where did your community come from? How did you build such a strong community? And, as we went through it, we got to the end, I said, you know what, honestly, I've told you a whole bunch of things that are part of the formula, but the reality is our community is nothing more than an outgrowth of our culture in Sugar House. And early on, when our brand was small, we influenced it. We treated our community the same way that we treated ourselves, and that was ground zero. And then suddenly this moment happens where we no longer own our community. Our community members own our community, and they're evangelizing our values very organically, not saying, any of the values, but the people that come along, it's a little bit like the Pied Piper. It's like they're attracted to something and they want to be part of it. And I think our community is it's an outgrowth of the values that we believe in and the culture. And if you walk into, our Sugar House office, I've never had someone make it back to my office without saying, this place feels good. I feel energy. I feel. They say they
You
feel.
can smell good.
Well, you do smell it. Yeah, you smell that.
smell-
You smell that from a long ways away.
Yeah.
That is true.
No, that's true. Though. That's a good point because
It does
even
make
the,
sense.
even the
It's almost
office
like-
setting itself, it's like when you walk in here, right? It's like
Well,
it's a cool atmosphere.
yeah.
You walk
like
into
your
Traeger.
people that
That's
use
right.
your product are the same people that work for you. But
Everyone
in
are-
a sense, right? It's just like the community of the consumer, of who consumes the product. It seems like it is just an extension.
It's organic.
I mean, I've been in your office probably 4 or 5 times, And one time for a dinner or a lunch, did you come with us that
With
one
Eric?
time? Yeah, and I mean, it was just, I don't know, like, it's interesting because I'm like, this is just like my house. This is just like my house
So-
when I invite people over.
That's what we want to have happen.
Yeah.
We want, like, great brands are authentic to the core. And what we want is for people to feel at every point of sale that sells Traeger, in every gather around a table around the world, what we feel in our office. And so, Instagram is intended to reflect what we're building, but now it's like, now we have, 800 partners around the world. Some people call them influencers. They're just our friends. And they believe in what we're doing, and so when they showcase themselves to their community, they feel like they're part of our family,
Yeah.
even if they look totally different.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, how?
I can see that. I'm
How
like
many-
a Traeger salesman in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's legit. It's almost like I purposefully shame somebody.
Yeah. Well, we started
Or
hanging.
you don't. What are you talking? Hold on. You don't have a Traeger? That's literally.
Now, ask them this question next time. Say, "Oh, cool, you got a gas grill. What flavor of propane do you cook with?"
Yeah.
Oh, how good does that propane taste?
You like the
propane smells
flavor?
So good. This is so good. It's
Yep.
like,
when we started hanging out, you had yours,
yeah.
and then I remember we were just moving into our house, and I was budgeting for my backyard for grass, all that stuff, and I budgeted in a Traeger, of course. So I got mine.
I love it.
My brother-in-law gets one. My other brother-in-law gets one. My parents get one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I imagine you hear this all the time. It's like, when you have a Traeger, you're telling everybody you have a Traeger.
Yeah,
And it's
Oh, dude,
amazing.
It's very
And then all you
evangelical.
want to do. There's some days literally. I've wanted. Actually, I'll admit to this. I've literally gone out and just smoke in my Traeger. And there's nothing cooking. I want my
Yeah.
neighborhood to smell my.
We do, just
smoke.
for the smell of the
Smell the
smoke.
hickory rolling.
I don't know if that's like a weird like there's a terminology. I mean, there's something maybe sinister about that or just off human nature.
That's Traeger Nation right
Literally,
there.
dude, I want
Yes.
like
Traeger
I
Nation.
wish I could turn it to super smoke and
You're
no
the-
food just so that people can see smoke coming out of my backyard.
You're the
Like, dude,
king
that
of the
guy
co-
is cooking.
King of the cul-de-sac,
Yeah,
baby.
dude, king of the
King of the cul-de-sac.
How many people are dissatisfied with their Traeger? Like, do you get a ton of returns, or people are like,
You know
hey,
what?
this sucks, man?
We don't get a ton of returns, but I will tell you that it's easy for people to find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram.
Oh no, so they're going right at you.
They do.
Yeah.
And honestly, nothing makes me feel worse than someone who has a bad experience with the Traeger. Like, we
Yeah.
don't get it right every time, and we aspire to. We had a moment, December 23rd. This guy reaches out to me.
Just
It's
this December.
Yeah. By the way, sometimes you get some aggressive messages.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
bet.
and I'll always diffuse it by saying, "Hey, thanks for your message. I would have helped you, like, whether you said mean things or not. So let me see how I can get this." And they always come back and say, "I'm so sorry. I didn't expect you to answer. I was heated."
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
no issue. Like, let's get it fixed. We owe you better. So this guy reaches out and he sends me a very respectful email or LinkedIn message. Basically says, "I spent 2 years thinking about the Timberline 1300. I bought it. I went out and I bought Snake River Farms meat. I had all the food ready to go. Today is December 23rd. I had a meal planned for Thanksgiving. For Christmas, for 2 days." And he said, "My grill, it showed up at the last mile provider. They called and said, your grill is damaged. Would you still like to take possession of it?" Like, the box had been damaged, like severely damaged in shipment. And he said, "No. I mean, if it's damaged, I researched, I saved up for this thing." And he said, "Here I am with the meat and everything I was going to cook. My family was excited. And it's the 23rd, and it's not going to happen." And I saw that, and my heart sank. So I said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to fix this. We're going to figure it out. You can't get a grill like at 8 p.m. on the 23rd to someone by
No.
Christmas morning." We found a retailer a long ways away, called him and said, "Hey, listen, would you please take a grill there? We'll pay the transportation. We'll pay full price for the grill. We just got to get it there. If this thing shows up, about 5 p.m. on the 24th, and he burns it in, and he cooks his meal the next day. The message that he sent back, like fortunately, like on the 25th, this guy's sending me a message on Christmas Day, showing me pictures of what he cooked and saying this was like the greatest Christmas for my family. And he made this really great comment. He said, "There's a lot going on in the world right now. It's a pandemic, social unrest. This has been a hard year, and so I'm stepping back and almost feeling guilty that like I'm complaining about my Traeger, but thank you, we got it. Like you fixed it. And when we don't get it right, it pains me. And then we step back and we don't just say, hey, we got to fix this, like this situation. We step back and we say, why did it happen? Like, what is the root cause? How do we fix that such that it never happens to someone else? And like we're starting to get really good at service. You know, when something goes wrong, you have to make it right. I mean, Traeger Nation is a collection of people who love and respect the Traeger brand and the Traeger community. And when it doesn't go well, interestingly, if you fix it the right way, you build more loyalty than had nothing ever gone wrong.
Yeah.
Of course, we'd
100%.
we'd rather have nothing go wrong, but I just believe brands are about experience. And if you don't deliver great experience, you will die a death of 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah. Dude, I love it.
I do have a question, totally off. Well, it's not off. But before we kind of start wrapping it up, Skull Candy, Traeger, you've met some cool people.
Don't ask me what's next.
No, I'm not asking what's next. I promise.
Tell us
that.
what's next.
No. I'm wondering, because you got to you've hung out with a couple of, a handful of NBA players, whatever. I hope you could answer this. Is there somebody that you're like, dude, I'm going to meet so and so, super excited. Like, no, I've never met him, girl, guy, super excited to meet him, and it was a flush turd. I mean, it was just like, dude, that person was not even as cool as I thought they were.
So, yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not putting you on the spot to name names because this is going to be seen by 4 people.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
our LinkedIn crowd.
I will be honest with your 4 listeners. The answer is, having spent time with a lot of professional athletes. I remember when I met Snoop the first time. He was like the biggest person I ever met, and I'm like nervous as could be.
Yeah.
And then I remember sitting in Jay-Z's office, not with him, but he walks in, spends a little bit of time. I'm like, oh my gosh. Met a lot of interesting people. Jay-Z was actually interesting. Like he's a bright guy that
he's
runs his business.
He's a businessman.
He is a businessman, but for the most part, big name celebrities just don't do anything for me. And it's not no disrespect. I just haven't found the most interesting conversation to happen with them.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's all like I would love who do I really want to meet? Bill Gates, Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
Like I revere Steve Jobs as a consumer. I in my office at home, I've got like front and center with a light on it, just a silhouette of Steve Jobs. People like that, I really, really enjoy. I had dinner a couple of years ago with Reed Hastings, founder of Netflix. I love his story. That's a guy I loved meeting. So for me, it's like
so it wasn't necessarily
meeting interesting people who have a story to tell is like I love it. And every once in a while you meet like a really, really big name, and you realize number one, they don't care about you, and number two, what makes them great is perfectly fine seen from a distance. They're just not always the most interesting people.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of my assumption. I mean, I haven't met many people, but it was just it'd be interesting in your shoes, just having people that I've looked, not that you looked up to, they're definitely celebrity, and you see them, you're like, oh, dude, yeah, but cool to meet that guy or whatever. Holy crap, he just bought a Traeger. Now I got to go hang out with him. Yeah. And then you sit down, and it's the dumbest. It's like, is what the hell?
I mean, I've had just very mixed experiences. Like some people, like I remember when I first started getting to know Joe Rogan. Yeah. Just thinking, this guy's the best. Like what you see is what you get. I remember sitting down and having lunch, spending 2 or 3 hours over lunch. It's like, We didn't talk business. He is just exactly authentic to who he is.
He's exactly who he is on his show.
It would
right?
not surprise you at all. I remember when, like, I was starstruck when Paul Ryan, the then Speaker of the House, reached out and said, I just left Congress a couple of years ago. I'm an outdoorsman. I hunt, and I love Traeger. And like, dude, you made my day. Sends me a picture of him and his Traeger. Like, people like that, I just always enjoy those types of people. And I get lucky that I get to meet some interesting people.
Yes.
Honestly, for me, the best thing ever in terms of meeting people, it's getting in a car and driving around retail and talking to the store associates locally that sell Traeger for us.
Yeah.
That it's like you just hear their story, and it's like an Ace Hardware, like their grandfather built it and built this patio, and now they're selling Traeger. And so you get to be a part of the heritage of a family business. Those are, for me, probably the most endearing conversations that I have.
That's cool.
That's great.
I love it, man.
Well, thank you.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for sharing your passion. I mean,
This was great. Thanks for the pizza.
we're not completely done.
A few more minutes.
We just got a few more things, but
All
we're
right,
switching
one more sip of
gears.
Low carb monster. There we go.
We're switching gears here, though. But yeah, thank you, man. It's been amazing. I mean, to hear the story, and I mean, we love Traegers. We're big supporters, and appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
So at the very end, we do a couple things. So I have 3 songs. I'm just going to give you the lyrics. You just got to try to tell me who it is and the name of the song.
I'm terrible at this.
Okay. And then after that, we have some would you rather questions.
Okay.
And the only rule is you have to answer.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
Okay.
Would you rather?
Yeah, you got to answer the would you rather. Okay. All right, first song. So these are like 1990s. One of them is early 2000. Okay. Oh, life is bigger. It's bigger than you, and you are not me. The lengths that I will go to, the distance in your eyes. Oh, no, I've said too much. I set it up. That's me in the corner. That's me in the
Oh,
spotlight.
I know. Got
That's
it.
me in the
Corner. Yes.
Losing my religion.
Yes.
REM.
Oh, I loved REM back in the
That
day. I haven't heard that since
You're wearing his hat
96.
right now.
In that video.
I swear, didn't he have your hat?
You
had
might
his
have.
hat
I don't
in that
know.
video.
Yeah.
Just kidding,
Actually, I
love
saw
your hat.
that. I was
Nothing
getting my
better than 80s videos.
I was getting my hair cut, and that came on. I'm like, that's gonna be one we're doing. Okay, you'll get this
REM.
one.
Want to get this one?
You'll get this one.
Okay.
If you don't, then
Yeah,
You're
Crap,
not
you
a-
just set me
I'll
up.
sing it, then
You set
you
me up.
jump in and help
Yeah,
me.
then
yeah.
you're not a fan. Okay. Son, she said,
Oh, yeah.
have I
this is
got a
easy.
little story for you?
Yeah, this is done.
What you thought was your daddy was nothing but a. While you were sitting home
What's on the
alone
wall
at
over there?
age 13, your real daddy was dying.
All those pictures, all 3 of those
Sorry
pictures.
you didn't see him. But I'm glad that we talked.
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Do you know the song?
Is it on the wall?
No. It could be. I don't know. It could be. Yeah, it could be any one. Those are two shots. I don't know.
Do you know the
That
song?
was some artwork. Oh, that one's over there is artwork from a Missoula, the show in Missoula.
Super cool.
Do you know what song that was?
Yeah, Black.
Nope.
No. Hold on. Sun.
I got a little time for him.
I can't. You're not making
Alive.
Alive.
Yeah.
Okay. The new
All right.
was from the 10 album.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop top, he says I'm going to win big. Choose not a life of imitation. Distant cousin to the reservation.
This is early 2000s.
Yep. Defunct the pistol that you pay for. This punk the feeling that you stay for. In time, I want to be your best friend. East Side love is living on the West End.
East Side.
Knock out, boy. Oh, excuse me. Knock out, but boy, you better come
no.
to. Don't
What?
die, you know the truth as some do. Go write your message on the pavement.
Is this rap? Is this a rap? What the? Go mess
Burn so bright, I wonder what the wave meant. Let's see, white heat is screaming in the jungle. Complete the motion if you stumble.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Come back with it. Yep.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, okay.
The world has loved the
Thank
tears
you
of
for-
tragedy.
Yeah, dude. When you read, there's no way.
it's
Some of
hard.
those, there's no way. You
Man.
can
It's
get
hard. It's hard.
That's a
Okay.
tough one, dude.
Yeah.
Because that whole thing was like.
Yeah, that could be
They
like
even
that.
sang it faster than you're reading it.
That could be a rap song.
Shoot, dude. Okay.
All right. Would you rather?
Okay, the first would you rather is this.
We
Okay.
ask this one every time.
Barry Bonds takes his bat, and it's a home run swing, right to the middle of your back. Okay.
Oh, gee.
Okay.
Wait, I hope the second choice gets better.
No.
Or Tiger Woods takes his driver, and he swings as hard as he can right to the front of your shin.
Is this Barry Bonds?
This is
steroid.
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 Oh, this
area.
is home run.
post.
This is home run season.
I got to tell you,
Smoking balls into the bay.
having walked behind Tiger and watched him hit that driver, I'm going with Barry Bonds.
Okay.
Not only because you didn't give me a third option.
Yeah, no, that's good.
good.
You're in the minority.
Yep.
Really?
That's about
Oh, my-
20%.
watching
I'm a Barry
Tiger
Bonds. I take a
swing
Barry
it.
Bonds guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That's tough.
Jeez. That was not what I was expecting, by the way.
This will probably be easy after eating those freaking fermented beans. Would you rather eat a small can of cat food or 2 rotten tomatoes?
Cat food.
Cat food?
Yeah.
All right.
You know, it's edible for cats, edible for me.
Would you rather have a horse's, this is noticeable, you can't hide it. Would you rather have a horse's tail or a unicorn horn?
You can't hide it. It's
Can't
like
hide
sticking
it.
out of
It's
your
there.
pants.
Yeah, it's
I got
everybody
a horse's
knows.
tail.
Just going for the
Yeah.
tail,
He's
swat the
just behind
flies.
me, Yeah.
I think the unicorn thing would get in the way. I think you can manage the tail more than the
At
unicorn.
least a tail
probably.
you can sit in a chair.
Yeah, yeah.
Your girls could braid it. Be good.
Yeah.
Keep them busy, dude. It'd be fun.
You're talking okay, yeah, it's a horse's tail.
Yeah.
You could braid it, yeah.
Swat the flies.
Can you manage? Can you control it like a
Yeah,
horse?
sure.
Start whipping.
Whip it? Yeah.
Okay.
Would you rather have a pig nose or a monkey face?
A monkey face or pig nose?
Yep.
I dislike monkeys. I've been attacked by monkeys before. I hate my children know I hate monkeys. No
So
monkeys.
No
Yeah.
monkeys.
Give me the pig nose.
Yeah, the pig
Okay.
nose.
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather have no sense of smell or smell everything around you with like extra ability? It's like somebody does like a little, a little burp, like you're getting that everywhere.
You know what? So, having talked to people who lost their sense of smell and taste, they said hardest, like it was like remarkable. It was hard.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and so I would say I'm going to go with an extra sense, and
Extra.
I'll just manage
You'll be fine.
through that. Yeah.
It'll be good.
The no smell for me it'd be a lot easier to stay trim.
Yeah. It probably would.
That's kind of the silver lining, I think.
You could smell
Wouldn't
the hickory
eat.
rolling smoke
I
over
know,
your
but
back
it'd
deck.
be like it's true, but the thing is I'd still eat it. I'd probably just take it and I would yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
That is a tough one.
Ah, shoot.
All you got is texture at that.
That sucks. That's true. You're talking zero smell, so it's virtually zero taste
Yeah.
as well. You probably take this. You probably take the extra sense. Yeah. Extra
I was
smell.
talking to a guy in Costa Rica who had COVID and lost his sense of smell and taste, and he had gotten it all back, except he couldn't smell poop.
Really?
Could not. I
That's
was
like the best
I said
outcome ever.
I said that's okay,
That's
right?
great,
He's like, no, it's great, it's perfect, perfect. Like, want to change my kids' diapers? No problem.
That's good. Yeah. That's like the
That's
best possible
interesting.
outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't give me that option. I would have taken
You
that
would have
option.
taken that one.
Yeah.
Would you have rather had an arranged marriage or spend the rest of your life single?
Boy,
Oh.
can I see the woman that I was arranged with?
Before, so it's not like because usually arranged marriages you
Okay,
do know
only-
like you meet.
Sometimes
you,
they
they
work
meet.
out
And they're like,
well.
hey,
Yeah.
2 years. You
Only
get married.
see.
Yeah.
Only see. So you know what she looks like physically, but you don't know what's going on up there.
Guys,
Single.
single.
I'm going single.
I can be really
It's
happy.
a crapshoot. That's too.
I
That's
love
too,
my wife and children, but I chose them.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I'm a guy. I think I can make things work most of the time. Like I really do. Like I can get over things and make things work. I just don't know if you could do that for the lifetime.
No, it's a long time. As when I was thinking about getting married, what was the advice? Would you rather be single or be married wishing you were single? And I got married, and
Yeah.
it's turned
Yeah.
out great. But
There's no way. Why
you
would?
can find happiness single.
You can do it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you're not a douche.
That's
right?
right.
I mean, you just be a good person. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you date still?
Absolutely. Well, you're just
yeah.
not married.
You're just not getting married, yeah.
Yes, that's perfect.
Good.
That's perfect.
All right. Would you rather have disappointing sex every night for a full year
Ay.
or great sex for one night?
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
Back up. Hold on.
That's a
Well,
terrible set of
No,
choices.
Hold on. Hold on. Is there no way? And you're no way.
Has anyone ever? Where did that
What?
question come
Hold
from?
on. Hold
Like,
on. Back up, dude. Reader.
Yeah.
So you're telling me? So if it's the one a year, there's no way. There's no hand relief. There's no. We're talking. There's nothing, right?
Well, I mean, we're getting into the weeds, right?
I know, but
It's
you
like,
be specific. You got to be specific. If
we need data. We need information.
no,
Nothing.
nothing. Nothing.
So,
It's
no
once
way
a
in hell.
year
I
or
would take it every
disappointing
night.
every night.
Take it every night. It's like at least there's
You're going to get done.
Yeah.
You're just going to be like,
There's no
I
way. in
I
hell.
agree.
There's no way. in hell.
Like
in
you
such a
could
bad
you could
mood
look
right now.
forward to it for 364 days,
And
but
it's-
on the next day, it's like I'm dead for.
dude. And
Yeah.
then- okay. there's
By the
no-
way, that was like I preferred the Barry Bonds Tiger Woods question. Like I preferred that. Like that's a terrible set of choices.
That's a terrible set of choices.
Life is better to us than that.
that's when you know it's a good
and then you
would
have
rather.
to. Then you have to
That's
show your
right.
hand. Then you're showing your hand, and you have to answer. That's the problem.
Yeah, you got to. That's
And then it's like, but oh man, there's no way.
yeah, I got a few more of those for you.
Oh, great.
Would you rather have a hook for a hand or a peg for a leg?
Hook for a hand.
Mm.
Peg for a leg. Hook for a hand.
I don't know. I just find that if I've had a hand injury before,
Yeah, but you can hook your hand to the mountain
it's
bike handle
it's
still.
debilitating. Like this, typing.
Think about grabbing that steak,
Yeah.
flipping it
Well,
over.
dude,
Oh, you could flip it with the hook though. That's.
Yeah.
yeah.
You'd be like the ultimate Traegerer.
I'm gonna go peg leg. Like I've seen people learn to sprint
Yeah.
with prosthetic limbs.
Is
and,
it
like,
below the
this
knee?
is-
Is it below the knee?
Yeah,
Below the knee. That's better.
I'm taking that.
Yeah.
peg leg. Okay.
Because if it was if it was one straight
No, that's
peg from the
different, yeah.
hip
Oh.
down.
Give me the hook.
Yeah. I think
Do you have any trouble with spiders?
Some people they freak out in my family. For me, it's like whatever. Give me tissue. I'll squeeze it. Put it in the toilet. Done.
What about lots of spiders and big ones?
No, I don't like them.
Okay, would you? I just want to make sure because if it's like you have no problem.
Oh, I
it's
have
like,
a problem with
eh,
that.
okay.
Yes.
All right. Would you rather be trapped in a small room with 10,000 tarantulas
No.
for 10 minutes,
Okay.
or eat 10 tarantulas in 10 minutes?
So I am told that tarantulas actually don't hurt you. So I would.
It would
eat,
it's just the fear of.
I would eat them quickly and be done.
Yeah.
I
Just
would
eat
tell
'em.
myself something. I'd eat them quickly.
Cooked or alive?
Oh, they're alive.
You're eating live.
Oh,
live.
you feel
10
good
live
about it.
ones?
Yeah, you gotta.
Well, then the question
Hold
is,
on.
do you chew them up or swallow quickly?
You
You
have
gotta, like-
experience with probably very unique, weird foods.
Yeah.
Oh,
More
I-
than most.
I can tell you things. I've never eaten live ants,
Yeah.
but I've eaten worse.
I might take 10 minutes in there.
I mean, they get people.
That
kill
would feel
tarantulas all
like
the
an
time.
eternity.
That would
though.
feel like a long
It
time.
would. I think I'd just throw up. I don't know if I could do that.
I'm taking the 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
10
I
minutes.
just don't think
I'm
I
there.
could do that.
Yeah. Would you rather have to wear pink UGG boots or pink Crocs for the rest of your life?
Oh, jeez.
Why is that one hard? Hold on. Might be the Crocs.
I'm going Crocs.
Yeah.
He's making
Probably
a
more
joke about
functional.
them. They're comfortable.
More functional. Yep.
Yeah, you can probably do a little more in those.
Yeah.
Would you rather be unable to use search engines ever again or unable to use social media ever again?
Oh boy, I live
No,
on search engines.
No social.
Social.
Social, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. During sex, would you rather accidentally call your wife by your mom's name or have them do that to you?
Wait.
What
say
is?
that.
Well, hold on. What is she saying? She's
She's
saying
calling you by your dad.
by her dad, or your dad or her dad.
Your dad. Because it would be her mom. Your mom. Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Wait, what was the second? What was the second? I know
So
I don't
accidentally call your wife by your mom's name,
So your mom.
or have them
say your
do that
dad's
to you,
name.
your dad.
like that. Guys, honestly, this is where I just tap out.
Oh my gosh.
We can skip. We can skip.
I would, if I have to answer, Danny, because I made
Okay,
I
I'll-
made a commitment years ago
Yeah.
that I would always answer would you rather's. I think I would take her saying my dad.
No question.
Yeah.
Okay.
No
Because
question.
it doesn't.
That's
guys could-
unfortunate,
it could
but it's
roll
not-
off.
yeah, yeah.
Girls, it doesn't roll off.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. That's gonna affect you guys.
Yeah.
It could affect you guys for weeks,
Yeah.
maybe longer. But no, it's just like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Done.
I get it. It's a mistake. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. What is a restaurant that you'll never step foot in?
The restaurant that I used to wait tables in.
Okay.
It was a Marriott hotel. And when I saw, by the way, no disrespect to Marriott, great brand. This is 30 years ago. When I saw what happened to some of the food,
In the kitchen.
I could
Yeah.
never go back.
Okay. We're going to use that restaurant at that time.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
Who is your biggest competitor?
To that restaurant?
No. Traeger. Who's
Traeger.
Traeger's biggest competitor?
Oh, Weber.
Weber. Okay.
Weber.
So would you rather live the rest of your life only eating in that restaurant,
Oh,
or
jeez.
you can only use a Weber grill, but you still work at Traeger?
So this is the only one that you've given me that's easy.
Is it okay?
I freaking hate Weber
Okay.
with a passion. I will eat the food.
You'll eat the food.
I
You'll
will
be
eat the
there for the
food.
rest of your life.
I will
That's
eat the
good.
food.
Okay.
That's great.
I figured
I
that
don't
would
think there
be
was
the
any
answer.
choice.
but
There was
yeah.
no choice.
Okay.
There's no choice. Freaking hate Weber.
Down with
No
Weber.
disrespect to Weber. I respect them.
You respect who though? You respect
I respect my competition.
you respect the spirit of competition.
The spirit
The
of
competition.
Spirit of
itself.
competition. I respect the spirit of competition enough to know that there's only one answer, and that's slit the jugular.
Good. I love
That's
it.
Yes.
Fierce. I love it.
Feed me the food.
Loved you. We're ending.
Okay.
We're ending right.
Yeah. Traeger Nation.
Jugular.
Traeger Nation,
Traeger
baby.
Nation, baby.
That's it.
Okay. Thanks,
Proud
man.
Thanks, man.
This is cool.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it was good.
Thanks, guys. I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it. That was awesome.
Cut. I wish we had a little.
By the way,